let's start with the game that, in terms of how the game ended, was very shocking to me. Thunder versus Nuggets. Okay, so Brian, any thoughts on this game particularly? I mean, it was insane what happened at the end.
Um, my thoughts are you just can't get rid of the Nuggets. You can't count them out. They just when they need to show up and get a big time win, they just do it. I don't know, even with the firing of Mike Malone, I guess he wasn't all that pivotal to their success because, as you can see, they're still playing good basketball. And it's really just first. Let me get into the first game of the series where OKC lost, and this is one of the problems with OKC. It's just flat out experience. It's just experience. As we saw when it came down to the crunch, they was up. OKC was up, 11 seconds left, and they elect to foul. Yes, they were up three, but why are we fouling with 11 seconds left on the clock? It just didn't make sense to me at the time, and that's coaching, and that is also experience. And then the second game, they came and blew the brakes off them. Like they looked like clearly the better team. This is what a lot of people thought the series would go like. Then they go to Denver and then they lose in overtime. And it's just like, well, and the thing with OKC is they have so much talent, but I mean, I'm not. I don't know what it is. Like they just can't. Like Jalen Williams, he gave you 30 last night. You got to win. You got to win. It's one of your second, your top, one of your top three guys give you 30. You got to win. SGA, you got to show up. You can't get all your points at the free throw line, man. You got to put the ball in the basket. And like I don't know, like y'all just letting dudes, unsung heroes, Gary Gordon hitting another clutch three. You just can't do it. You just can't do it, man. It's just the Nuggets played some solid defense last night as well. It's just like, man, shoot, Jokic almost made that three at the end of the game, almost sent them boys home. I was like, oh, I thought that was going in. I said, oh Lord, they got lucky. And then SGA had zero stats in the overtime period. Only thing he had that was translated to the stat sheet was minutes, and that's
Mm,
just unacceptable. If you the MVP, so they got to OKC got to figure something out because they got all the talent in the world. They got players. This should be a 2-1 in their favor, not the other way around. So they got to figure it out. They got to do some soul searching, man. I know they think Aura ain't gonna win this series. We need some buckets and play some defense. Because at this point, y'all on the verge of getting upset. Y'all gonna have to come out next game and stand on business because you go down 3-1. Oh, it's done. 60 plus wins for no reason.
yeah, no, you make great points. Let's just let's just look at the stat sheet. You
Yeah,
know what
let's
I
let's let's
mean?
take a look. Let's take
Let's
a
take
gander.
let's take a look. So yeah, if you look at just the Thunder, Jalen Williams by far had his best game of any
Exactly.
playoff series that I've seen him play. 32 points, 11 for 21 shooting. I was thinking, if this is the Jalen Williams we're going to get for the rest of the playoffs, nobody's beating the Thunder. But here's the problem: when you go down and you look at SGA, 22 shot attempts, only 7 field goals made, 18 points. He had 13 rebounds, but and 7 assists, but 18 points ain't gonna cut it on
Christian
31%
Brown had that
shooting.
boy. He had
And
that boy in
hell,
the yeah.
and I was watching all the Shai shot attempts, and Denver, to their credit, they did a good job of collapsing the middle of the court where SGA likes to do all his damage because he's a mid-range guy. But at the same time, SGA, he settled a lot for that step back three at the top of the key, and it just was not falling. In the fourth quarter and in overtime, he kept relying on that step back three, and it just wasn't working for him. And I just felt like there were certain moments in the game where they could have tried to exploit the switching that the Nuggets were doing, because there were times where Jamal Murray was guarding SGA, right? They were switching on the pick and roll, and they just didn't do that a whole lot. And also, they weren't moving the ball. I think overtime, it was just heavy isolation with Shea Gilgis when Jalen Williams was having it going. Why not go back to Jalen Williams? He was dominating that game. But SGA just had to be the hero. He just had to be the hero, right? And it just wasn't falling for him. And I felt like the inexperience comes with how do we execute when the game is on the line? I think that's where the inexperience comes to that point that you made, because all these analysts, NBA analysts that I see on television, even these NBA YouTubers that would bring up the inexperience, they don't mention, okay, where does the inexperience show? And I think this playoff series showed when the game was on the line, okay, now experience matters, because the Denver Nuggets have been here before for many, many years. The continuity with Jamal Murray, with Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, they understand where they need to be. They understand how to generate shots. They understand, okay, who gets the ball in this moment, in this spot on the court. While with the Thunder, it seems like they're still trying to figure that out. Guys are still developing as players. So it's going to be hard for them to really figure out a cohesive and efficient way of generating good offense when it matters most. And that's a huge problem when you're facing a team like the Denver Nuggets that have won a championship, being one of the most clutch teams we've ever seen in the NBA. So if OKC is going to win this series, they're going to have to take it from the Denver Nuggets, like literally take it. And they don't want to be in a dogfight at the end of the game with the Denver Nuggets, because as we've seen time and time again, the Denver Nuggets are one of the most clutch teams in NBA history. And they showed it with Jamal Murray. They showed it with huge shots from Aaron Gordon, great passes from Nikola Jokic. Like let's look at these stats again, because Nikola Jokic didn't have the best game in the world. I mean, Nikola Jokic, he's actually hasn't been that great in the playoffs. He's had
Well,
some really good games.
game one, didn't he have like 40 and
Yeah,
40
yeah,
and 20 something?
yeah. But in terms of consistency that
Oh
we
yeah.
expect from Nikola Jokic, he hasn't been all that great. He's been decent, obviously, but in terms of his level of play, like 8 for 25 shooting, that's just not normal for Nikola Jokic. He's usually a lot better. 0 for 10 from three. He has the 16 rebounds, 6 assists, 8 turnovers. So he wasn't good. He wasn't all that good, but it didn't matter because you had 21 from Michael Porter, you had 22 from Aaron Gordon, and you had 27 from Jamal Murray. And then you have guys like Peyton Watson playing good defense. You have and protecting the rim. You have Russell Westbrook, who's also hitting some timely shots as well. It's crazy that the Denver Nuggets, they don't have much of a bench, but they still figure out a way to generate enough points, play good enough defense to stay in the game long enough to just make it difficult for the OKC Thunder. And now OKC is down 2-1. I ain't gonna lie, I'm rooting for OKC to win, but I do love the fact that OKC, their backs are against the wall. So
Mm,
now we really get to see, all right, how are they really built?
exactly.
I love that aspect because, everybody picked OKC to pretty much, I'm not going to say
Walk to the
everybody, but
finals.
majority of people pick OKC to walk to the finals. And for them to finally get some sort of
Punched in the mouth.
resistance,
Yeah.
they look vincible now. They don't look invincible. They look vincible. I love it because now we get to see what are they really made of. Are they who we thought they were, or are they just this inexperienced team that a lot of these old heads and a lot of these people had pointed out to during the season?
You know what this reminds me of?
What it remind you of?
Remember them years in the Warriors, like in 2015, 2016, and how everyone was like, oh yeah, Warriors going to they're just gonna walk to the finals, and they ran into the Spurs in the second round, and they was in
Mm-hmm.
trouble until Kawhi got hurt.
Yeah.
It's what reminds me of. It's like you got to go through them fires in order to stake your claim. as a real contender in this league. And even then, once they got past the Spurs, I think Damian Lillard and them was giving them some bump. Or
So
was that a different year?
so I remember correctly. I remember in I think 2015 they had a little bit of trouble with Memphis, but
Yes.
they ultimately beat them in 6, I think it was. And then came the Rockets. I think they got them out of there in like 5. Next year, that was the year. Remember, Steph went out with that injury. I think he came back in the middle of the Blazer series. They won in like either 5 or 6. That Thunder series, down 3-1. That was the series where we're like, whoa, like Warriors, what's going on? Past champions, what's going on? But what I will say with this Thunder team is, boy, oh boy, they have to figure out a way to generate offense in the clutch, because they cannot continue to just go isolation heavy with Shea Gilgeous.
Exactly.
That you have to drive and kick. You have to generate some type of offense to just keep the defense honest, because that's just not going to work. Denver is just going to key in on Shea, collapse in mid range, force him to just rely on that step back 3, and it's just not going to hit for him. Shea he's not been the most efficient in these playoffs. His shooting splits haven't been all that great. He's still averaging close to 30, but the shooting splits right there, we seen the last game and the previous games, it's just not there. I would say, in terms of the only game in this series where he shot the ball well, was in a 40-point blowout. So yeah, man, this is exciting. This is really exciting to see. This playoffs have been amazing to watch. Teams that we thought were just going to walk their way to either the finals or the conference finals are getting tested. This is what it's all about. This is one of the best playoffs I've seen in a minute, and
Oh
I
yeah.
am enjoying every second that I don't care what anybody says. Oh, it's too physical, man. Get out of here. This is
Who
fantastic to